So we're going to try a little experiment this morning, and I have no idea if it's going to work or not, but we'll find out. So just humor me for a few minutes here. So first, I'd like you to take just a moment to lean back, scoot your chair away from your computer, or just close your eyes, whatever works best for you, and imagine in your mind your ideal Pesach Seder. What does your ideal Pesach Seder look like? So go ahead, I'll give you a little time right now. Think to yourself, what does it look like? Who's there? What are you eating? How long is it? Okay, good. Does everyone have their Seder in their mind? All right, so I want you to do the exact same exercise. Give yourself some space and some time to think, but this time, instead of imagining your ideal Seder, I want you to think about the best Seder that you've ever experienced. The most memorable, the most special, the best Seder that you've ever experienced. Now take your time and bring yourself back to wherever and whenever that was. See if you can put yourself back in that moment. Think to yourself, what is standing out? What is making this so special? What is making the Seder so memorable? All right, does everyone have both in their minds? Okay, so now I'm going to really tick off our virtual Gabayim, and I'm going to ask that we allow folks to unmute, because I want to hear some of your experiences. So let's just take 2 or 3 experiences. Anyone have a Pesach Seder that was just really out of this world that they'd like to share? A Pesach Seder that was incredibly memorable, really, really special to you?
I remember when I was growing up, my brother and his fraternity brothers dressed up in white and went out and impersonated Eliyahu in a totally Jewish neighborhood. And they went from house to house, and nobody would stop them from drinking the wine. So they came back to the house, and they were completely shicker. It was wonderful. I was about probably 17 or 18.
Oh my God. I love it. Beautiful. Perfect. Anyone else? A story they'd like to share? A perfect Seder?
We're not going to be streaming Tuesday and link Monday through Friday.
No?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sally.
Okay, so this was years ago, and what we always did was we had the Haggadah part of the Seder before the meal in the living room, so that we could relax and lean and do whatever you wanted to do and be easy. And I had a lot of props. So the kids were really little, and one of them was little frogs, plastic frogs or whatever. And one of the kids took the frog and threw it up on the ceiling, and it stuck. Okay, so then we had all the kids throwing frogs on the ceiling. And eventually what happened was I had to have my ceiling repainted. But it's one thing they'll never forget.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, let's take one more. I think we had one more. Ivan?
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's not really a specific story. It's more so every Passover up until this year. This is the first Passover we had without my father. But every Passover in which he was still with us was the best. I mean, one was never better than the other because everything we always did together was fantastic. And so pretty much every Passover in which he was still with us was exceptional. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. So here's my question now. With the show of hands, how many of you saw your ideal Seder perfectly aligned with your most memorable Seder? I'm asking our folks in the congregation too. Great, interesting. And I didn't really think this through as far as how this would work on Zoom. So virtual Gabayim, do we have a estimate of percentage that you can tell me who have their hands up?
Does 20% sound? 30% good?
Okay, perfect. So interesting. This is why this question is so fascinating. Let me explain why I'm so interested in this question. And I'm hoping that we can journey through this question together, because I
Rabbi, I think you're muted. Hang on one second, Rabbi Dahlen. I think we lost sound for a second.
okay?
Now you're back.
Okay, now we're back. Okay. So these are pretty common requests. These are the ones that, if we're being honest, we've probably said those same lines before at some point in time, right? Keep it short, let the kids participate, but don't make it too kiddie. And 3, please don't make us come back to the Seder after we've eaten. We've probably said that before, or at least we've heard it before. But this is where things get interesting. Because when I ask people to tell me about their most memorable or their favorite Seder, 9 times out of 10, those requests and those warnings are completely thrown out the window. And the very same people who say, please, please, let's not do all of Dayenu, let's not act out Magid, let's not spend 2 hours talking before we get to eat, are the ones whose eyes light up when they tell me about the year their Seder lasted until 3 in the morning, and the kids fell asleep at the table with ping pong balls and plastic locusts in their hands. Or maybe, as you said, Sally, frogs stuck to the ceiling. And that the next day they were hoarse from singing and laughing throughout the night. These are the same people that say this. So what are we supposed to do with this disconnect? How do we navigate the path of what we think we want and what we actually want? Okay, well, I'm going to do something that I don't do very often because I'm more of a proponent of emotion and gut feeling. But I have to make an exception here because the science of psychology tells us that here in this case, we do ourselves a service by listening to our memory rather than listening to our growling stomachs or our cynicism. We humans are creatures of habit. We seek out order and rhythm so that we can make sense of the world. Familiarity equals safety. And so we rely on that rigidity as an old evolved part of our biology to have security. Right? And that makes sense. To be clear, that's a good thing. We need to feel safe and in control. That helps us with our responsibilities as adults who have people, homes, friends, children, and work that we need to take care of and protect. That's built into our biology. But what separates us from other animals is that we also have a deep and vital need to go beyond, to transcend, to discover moments of deep worth and meaning. That's who we are as people, and especially as Jews. We need those moments. Sometimes we get lucky and those moments happen to us. But in our tradition, we believe strongly, and with lots of evidence, by the way, that we ourselves have a lot of power to help create those moments. Pesach is one of those opportunities. It is an established obligation to get out of the normal rhythm and help create holiness rather than waiting for holiness. And though it might feel uncomfortable or inconvenient when we have to wait for food, or when we have to stop taking ourselves so seriously, so that we can sing with the levity and joy intended as we sing one of Chazan's great Pesach parodies, like Sweet Kosher Wine instead of Sweet Caroline, we know that these are how the most beautiful, the most meaningful Passover memories are made. We know that. But it's also so easy to know that truth and do nothing about it. It's so much easier to listen to our stomachs and our heads that are telling us, get on with it already, and let's make sure we're eating by 8 p.m. at the very latest. But easy just doesn't come with the same rewards that difficult does. Easy usually doesn't create memories. Easy might be safe and convenient, but we Jews have never subscribed to doing things the safe and convenient way. We are seekers of meaning. That is who we are. We are spiritual nomads, looking for sparks of holiness, of wisdom, for those kernels of magic that have the power to change us forever, and to build palaces of gratitude and appreciation in the photo albums of our memories. That's who we are. And guess what? We have another opportunity for that journey tonight, this evening. So as we head into our second day of Yom Tov this evening and into a week of profound communal memory, let me challenge all of us to make the Seder tonight one that we will always remember. Without any excuses, oh, it's second night Seder, it's not as important as first night Seder. No. Tonight we have the possibility, we have the opportunity, we have the privilege to be able to make this Seder one that we will remember for the rest of our lives. Let's take our time. Let's sing loud and as silly as we can allow ourselves to be. Let's really ask the questions that are on our minds as we go through the Haggadah, even if those questions feel difficult or controversial or theologically troubling. And let's remember that the ultimate form of liberation is breaking from our standard rhythm and to venture into the depths of something bigger. Let's try. So with that, I'm wishing everyone a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. May all of our tables tonight be filled with the potential of being the Seder we remember for the rest of our lives. Chag Sameach.